programs for families and adults.
Empower your children with a religious education that helps them make their own decisions about what they believe.
Connect and learn from our community of diverse experiences, faith, and cultures.
Sing with others in one of our many choirs.
Explore your creativity and find healing in the chapter of your life that you're in right now.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the highs and the lows of our lives.
Live out love beyond belief here in Tulsa, across our nation, and around the world.
Join us. Become a member of the All Souls family in our centennial year.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the joys and the sorrows of life.
All Souls Tulsa and All Souls everywhere.
Join today at allsoulschurch.org.
That was the best musical commentary. With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to All Souls. It's great to be together on this Labor Day weekend, and those who are online, welcome to you as well. I was online minister last Sunday, and we had folks from Holland, Africa, Uganda, Rwanda. You know, it was just people from Louisiana, New York. just so great that we're all able to be together, especially in these times, and to be able to share some inspiration. Today we have my good friend, I think one of the most compelling religious thinkers and speakers today, Bishop Carlton Pearson's with us. We're looking forward to hearing from him. And Reverend Gerald Davis, always a pleasure to have Reverend Davis from Church of the Restoration with us. And Rick Fortner and David Smith and Matt Edwards have some special music for us this morning. We're thinking about imagination, yes, and vision. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please rise as you are able, as Reverend Davis leads us in our Invocation and Covenant.
Good morning, church.
Well, good morning to you.
So we're not talking before I say this?
Didn't they tell you?
We're not welcoming one another?
No, just we'll
So
go
it's
right
all
into
going to
it,
come
brother.
from the pulpit.
Right into it.
It's fine, and I want you all to feel what I feel.
That's right.
And what I'm feeling is, yes, indeed, this is a day that God has made.
All right.
That's right.
Let us then rejoice in it and be glad, and let us count our many blessings. We are grateful for the capacity to see. Yes. Sometimes we touch and feel and smell. See, hear, feel, and understand.
All right.
We are grateful for the incredible gift of life.
Amen.
And we are especially grateful for the ties of love which bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all our days. Please join me in our covenant.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond belief.
All right. Hey, can you read the Chalice Lighting?
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let unity, truth, and goodness sound through every land by every tongue.
Seated. Our chalice lighting this morning. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it, or a candle, to join with us in the Spirit. As we light our chalice this morning, I invite you to imagine that we live in a time and in a world where we all turn to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking on those who are elderly or alone. Imagine that each of us feels called to wonder in this moment, what does the world need from me? What are my gifts in this time, in this place? And imagine if instead of saying, but this is not our world, people say with great hope, it's not our world yet. And imagine if what we do here each week helps bring such a reality to life. Right. Just imagine.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Boston, your religious educator.
Yes, you are.
And today we are introducing September's theme of vision. What you can see, not just with your eyes, but with your mind and with your heart. Our story today is the magical yet. There are days when your dreams haven't come true, or you're upset by things you cannot do, if you've lost or failed, or cried just a bit. You're tired of waiting, ready to quit. Like that shiny new bike you couldn't ride. And it didn't matter how hard you tried. You couldn't pedal, you couldn't steer, you couldn't get that bike into gear. And then when you thought you were on the right track, you popped a wheelie and fell on your back. And now you won't ride. No way, not ever. No riding for you. You'll walk forever. Don't give up now. There's a major game changer, a most amazing thought rearranger, someone to show you how good you can get. Now introducing the magical yet. With this yet's magic, you can begin to see that you're going beyond where you've been. There are so many things that you've learned to do when you know that this yet is now with you. Like when you babbled before you could talk, or how you crawled before you could walk. Yet's a dreamer, a schemer, a hoper, a trier, a maker, a doer, a gotta fly higher. This yet finds a way, even when you don't, and knows you will when you think you won't. Yet doesn't mind warm-ups, fixes and flops, do-overs, redos, stumbles and stops. Yet knows there's mistakes, some big and some small. With yet, you're sure to get over them all. Be patient. Yet can't do it all overnight. Some things take days, months, or years to get right. But if you keep leaping and dreaming and wishing, waiting and learning, trying and missing, with the yet as your guide along the way, you'll do all the things you can't do today. Now you're bolder and braver, starting to see with yet you can get where you want to be. You finally did it. You knew you could. You're not just writing, you're getting quite good. But don't stop now. You've got so much to do. The good news is this yet grows with you. So no matter how big or how old you may get, you'll never outgrow, you'll never forget. You can always believe in the magic of yet. Come, children, let's go discuss what you haven't been able to do yet, but with some vision and a little practice and a plan and the magical yet, you might just be able to accomplish.
One of the beautiful traditions that came out of the pandemic here at All Souls is the lighting of candles for those we love and those who we're lifting up. I want to light a candle this morning for all those who labor to make our lives better, those who've labored in the past, those who've labored today, and those who will take a break over the weekend from laboring to celebrate all of our combined work. I want to light a candle. I know those online have been texting some things that they want us to lift up in our service. Pat Neal asked if we would lift up his sister Katie, whose husband Dan has cancer and is not expected to live more than a few more days. So we light a candle for Dan and a candle for Katie and a candle for Pat and his wife Annabelle. Also, there's a prayer to lift up and light a candle for one of our online viewers from Rwanda, a Unitarian Universalist from Rwanda who had to flee to Uganda because of religious persecution. And so they are now in Uganda, and we're lifting them up in prayer as they make their new life together. His family, 2 children, 9-month-old and a 1.5-year-old. We're thinking of you. We're lifting up Elizabeth Gutierrez and Polly. We're going to light a candle for Polly, who I believe is Randy Lewis's sister. And I'd invite those of you who are here to call out the names of anyone you'd like to lift up, and I'll light a candle for those names as well. Laurel and Stephen and Randy and Brandy, Joan Brown, Jane, John, Donald. May the beautiful light and flame and warmth of this place, of the hearts of those who've lifted up these names, may all of that goodness spread healing and hope wherever it needs to go today. At this time, I'd like to invite anybody who is within the first year of the death of a loved one, or anyone for whom this Sunday is the closest anniversary to the death of a loved one. And we invite you, if you'd like, to stand in memory and mourning for those you love. And you may be seated when Reverend Davis begins the spoken prayer.
You may be seated. Hear now this prayer. Oh, gracious God, Spirit of life and love, we are so thankful to be able to be in a place of sanctuary. And we're grateful for all those who have found sanctuary, where they can feel the freedom to speak their hearts. Oh, gracious God, we are so abundantly wealthy with all of the spiritual gifts you give us. But sometimes, gracious God, we need a little bit of encouragement. We need a little bit of a pat on the back, maybe a warm arm around us, maybe a pleasant look, maybe a smile. Whatever it is, gracious God, it will tell us that we too are included in your love, that you can give another person the sweet embrace that love calls. Gracious God, in this time, when we are preparing to do whatever we do, we need you. We know that there are times that make us feel that we are not able, that we may even be inept. But we know that your love says, no, I'm with you. Not yet, but I'm with you to do what you need to do. Gracious God, we love each other. Let that love be emblematic, that others can see what's going on with them. They must love somebody. No, they are loved. Gracious God, we are loved by you, and so we love others. Keep us then in a place that says we can. Yes, we can. And let that be our motto for today and for each day forward. Yes, we can. In your name, we pray this precious prayer, because we know all things are possible through you. Amen. Blessed be Ashe.
Make us aware we are a sanctuary, each made holy and loved right through.
with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary anew. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Sing it with me now. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe
Thank you, Pastor David. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of your creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. If it were only that easy. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free as you truly wish to be. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of our creation. What we see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, you've already done it. There is no I know to compare with pure imagination living there. You'll be free if you truly wish to be.
We think you're going to turn out to be something before it's over.
Eventually.
I love you,
I love
Mr. Fortner.
I love
He
you
was
too.
in my home this weekend. He always plays the piano when he comes over, and just the room, the house is filled with his sound and his soul. You're a great, great man.
Thank you.
Great mind, multi-talented. David, who's been with me for 30 or more years as a friend and a brother, and traveled with me around the planet, the country, and the world, and unique in his own way. Matt, I've known for many, many years and served with me in love and ministry. I'm just happy to be home. Aren't you glad that our leader is here today? The visionary of this house. He has the most creative and curious and adventurous mind. I love his experiences, which he doesn't volunteer. You have to pick his mind to find out, well, this dude has done a lot, thinks a lot. And I think we are growing because of his leadership and his vision. And that makes me feel really, really, really good inside, because there's a lot of monotony on the planet, particularly in religious circles. And we want here at All Souls to be expansive and to be fresh and to not be monotonous and bored or boring. And that takes work to be creative. I wore white today because tomorrow is the last day supposedly you wear white. It didn't say it's the last day you can be white. So y'all carry on the rest of the year. The rest of us have to make adjustments. I don't know why they made that rule in the first place. It doesn't make a bit of sense. Don't pay attention about all that white stuff. Don't even pay attention to it. The theme for the month is vision, which is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination, with wisdom, and we're all doing that. We imagined ourselves, most of us, being here today, and we're imagining what we're going to do as soon as we finish here in a few minutes. You're imagining what you may do tomorrow, Labor Day, what you may do the rest of the week. Our life is full of images and imaginations. It is the energy of our consciousness. And sometimes we do it without necessarily using faith or knowing that we're using faith. It's just that we believe, we perceive, we expand, we imagine, and it's the health of the soul. A vision is not just a picture of what could be or what should be. It's an appeal to our better selves. I think our more expansive selves, our very souls. It's a summons within our spirits to personally, powerfully, and of course collectively expand and become something more. Nothing is more boring to me than boredom. I get bored fairly easy. My attention span is not always that long unless I'm doing something that I'm interested in. So I'm always shifting. As I approach my 70th birthday, I'm thinking more about what's next, not just what has been. Usually when you get older, you only think about the past. And I think a lot about my future. I think mine is bright if I make it that. I remember when my dad came out of 5 bypass surgery, and I was by his side, of course, the moment he came out, and even when he went in, and I said to him as they were taking things off of him and getting him ready to exist again, I said, "How you doing, Pops?" He said, "Well, one thing, son, I'm not going to be no sick old man." That was the first thing in his mind. I'm not going to be no sick. And he lived 15 years after that till he was 88. And one of my heroes. But he made up his mind that he wasn't going to be defeated. The power of imagination is what I've chosen to name my portion, and we're going to be talking about vision all month long. we have the ability to think about and plan our future with imagination, with wisdom, by developing the faculty of vision within us, personally and collectively. What do you think about the church? Imagination, the ability to imagine, to have, to find, to form, or to create, if you will, an image. You can actually do that yourself. An image that's desirable, that's attractive, that's attracted to us. You attract what you imagine. You're not just attracted to the image, you attract the image to you. I often say, be careful what images you allow to prevail in your mind, because images are like magnets. They literally draw you to them. If you imagine defeat and death and negativities, you will attract that same energy into your life. Be careful what you say, what you think, what you speak, because you are constantly creating something. Imagination is powerful in that it empowers, it enables. There's an energy out here that is invisible, and we put thoughts and words, and once you say something, it's out there. You can't bring it back. You can say something over it, in addition to it, to even counteract it and make it not be manifested in your life. But if you say it, think it, and speak it, it's because thoughts are things, as are words. Remember, I often say we don't just spell words, words spell us and cast spells on us. A spell is like an enchantment. The word is a chant or a cantor. To repeat something, repeat overly in your soul, and it bounces off your bones, and it becomes your reality. Religion is built around chanting, the Gregorian chant and other chants, mottos and slogans and constant repetitions of words and thoughts in your mind. Many people in America today are under a spell because they've heard a lot of mottos. Sometimes make America great again really means make America hate again legally. And it has engendered, not with everybody who says that, but in some people's spirit, especially here in Oklahoma, it's in some people's spirit that they want to go back. We don't want to go back, and we don't want to stay where we are. We want to move forward. That's our visionaries' thoughts. That's our leaders' thoughts. Dr. Wolf imagined this man in consciousness brought him in and coached him and tutored him. And when he left, there were no regrets. Dr. Wolf said to me, I believe in the resurrection. I said, what? You, since when? He said, just call it a revelation. He said that to me just a couple of days before he transitioned. He said, people change. He said, I did. He had some kind of experience in his latter days and hours, and that's okay. To each his own. Whatever you feel, whatever you experience is yours, and you should not apologize for it. But be willing to expand. Be willing to go to the next level. To imagine is to form a mental image or concept of something, of course. It is to suppose or assume. Ask yourself, how many things in your life or about your own self do you suppose or assume? Have you ever paused to study or evaluate, even interrogate your suppositions, your assumptions? I assume, I presume. Study those assumptions. I'm learning to do that more accurately. And study those suppositions. Sometimes they're profoundly inaccurate, or sometimes they are very, very limited. And it's okay to expand the assumptions, or even change them, or expand the supposition, what's supposed to be. You ain't supposed to do that. I ain't supposed. You don't know what you're supposed to do. You have to learn through experience and expression and exposure what you're supposed to do and supposed to be. So I'm not, power is a privilege, but responsibility is the other side of privilege. How you respond to the ability in you to make something happen. You've heard the statement, there are those who make things happen, there are those who watch things happen, and there are those who wonder what happened. They don't even know. Power is ability, enablement. It's empowerment to be or produce. Power is a right or authority that is given or delegated to a person or a body like we are. It can be self-delegated. when I wake up in the morning, sometimes when I go to sleep at night, I delegate myself certain privileges, certain responsibilities, certain visions, and certain empowerments. We're born both with and as imagination. Scriptures calls us created in the image or imagination of God. We're all, if there's any truth to that, that means we're all imaginary deities or aliens. Sometimes alien comes first. We're hybrid something, consciousness, spirit, energy, imagination, creativity. We're constantly shifting and changing and moving. All living things grow, all growing things change, and all change is a challenge, sometimes even a struggle. We're constantly evolving and dissolving. There's no evolution without dissolution. Some things have to go away. What we're seeing in America, really in the world, but particularly in America, is a lot of things are dissolving in front of us. Just traveling. I mean, it was almost like, I don't mean to sound, because we have a lot of third world country people watching us. I don't mean to sound demeaning when I say we're almost in the technology, in the organization, what some people call third world mentalities. Because, in fact, I was in Singapore recently, and a lot of times when I travel around the world, I find out that they are more adept at what they're doing technologically or automatically than we have become. It's like this country is shifting. Pilots, flight attendants retiring or resigning, and there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of tension. We've never felt more polarity in our country than we do today. We've armed the country with assault weapons, and ultimately the country will assault itself. That's kind of what's happening. And I hate to hear it, I hate to say it, I hate to see it, but we have to identify what's there and then decide we want to make a difference. Somehow we become one nation under guns rather than under God. It's in guns that many people trust rather than those who say they trust in God. So we have to be careful about the laws that are occurring and that we are allowing to occur. So we got to get to the ballot boxes, not the bullet boxes, the ballot boxes, and vote people out that need to be voted out. Thank you for that careful round of applause. Sometimes we don't want people to know what our imaginations are because it may be different from theirs. We need imagination in order to imagine a future that doesn't exist. We need imagination in order to imagine a future that doesn't exist. Imagination is the beginning and the foundation of creation. It facilitates and accommodates our ability to create, recreate, procreate, and co-create. We're doing this together. Say to somebody, we're all in this together. Say it right. Imagination is the eye of the soul. It is spiritual and mental visualization. And I love it. It energizes me. I like to close my eyes. I was in Los Angeles. They're doing a documentary on Tammy Faye Baker, and they've done a couple of movies on her eyes or her eyelashes. I knew her personally, and I knew Jim, still know him. But Jay, their son, called and asked me if I would give an interview. So I flew to Los Angeles, and we sat for 5 hours, and they just interviewed me on not just their vision, but the visions that we see as religious people. A lot of that I've actually fired the old God that repented that he made me. I don't even believe in that one anymore. I believe there's a God that's broader than that and bigger than that is nameless. That there's a God before, besides, and beyond what some people write in their sacred writings or scriptures. I believe in a God that's not definable, that you don't have to know that God, but you can experience that God in a flower, in a flea, in a butterfly, and a butt that flies. So you can experience, where'd that come from? You can experience God in various ways without lie. But I was out there. Stevie Wonder texted me because we were supposed to meet. Now, how can a blind man text? Did you hear a blind man just talk? He said, we do that all the time. When Reverend Gerald walked in the office this morning, he said, I smell Bishop Pearson. I want to say, what does he smell like? If it's more cologne than you need, just consider the alternative. But his senses are keen because he doesn't see, but he sees. He's one of the most articulate and accurate and creative thinkers and speakers I've ever met. This man is a genius. I'm so glad he's part of our family, aren't you? And he's very proud to walk on his own. I got a brother. You know, he'll walk with his little cane, and I don't know how many times he's walked down this aisle, but I don't know tell us, what do you see when you walk down this aisle? Because he kind of knows, he feels it. You can feel what you see and see what you feel, even if you can't see.
That's great.
The last 3 phone calls I've gotten from Steve and I talk, he calls me on FaceTime. I said, dude, you can't even see. Why are you going to call me on FaceTime? I still don't understand why. It's a little clearer somehow when he's sitting there looking all. I said, man, I can see you. He can see, like shadows and images, but nothing with specificity. But he says, I have a vision that you don't have, Carlton. I can see what you don't see. He said, I'm glad I don't have normal sight. I have unnormal songs. I have seasons. I have senses. All of us do. In fact, close your eyes for a minute. Everybody, just close them for a couple of seconds. Keep them closed. What do I look like? What am I wearing? Don't call me white. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I said it. Now, he saw it when I came down here, but your eyes are closed. And even with your eyes closed, you still probably know that I have a striped shirt. How many of you noticed that my shirt has stripes in it? The rest of you go sit in the car till we get through. All right, open your eyes. I'm kidding. But now you have an image of me physically, visually, but even when you close your eyes, and I want to ask you again, what do you see when your eyes are closed? What do you see when you're sleeping? Because sometimes most dreams are black and white. I dream very often in color when there's something specific that I'm supposed to remember. I just remember it because it comes across in normal color. Some dreams are more real, seem more accurate. Every once in a while, I have a deja vu. Had one just a couple of days ago. It's like, I've been here, I did this, I heard that, the exact words. How many of you have ever had a deja vu? Most of you, you all go get in that car again because everybody dreams, they tell us. You don't always remember the dreams. You know that Oklahoma has more earthquakes than California? But they're so deep and tiny that we don't sense them. We live on a fault that goes all the way down through Memphis. I'm from California, and so I'm constantly thinking about loved ones and the big one that's supposed to happen. I don't want to imagine that, but I can't help it sometimes imagining that it will occur with people I love. Without lives and leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement and incitement of possibilities. Keep thinking. Keep dreaming. Keep imagining. I imagined things as a teenager that I'm experiencing right now. I remember when I think I told this story before, in the ghettos of San Diego where I was raised. I remember one Saturday morning we heard what sounded like firecrackers. Pop, pop, pop. And my mother had us all cleaning out our drawers, which I hated, and organizing things, which I hated. But I heard those shots, and I wouldn't have responded to them, but a few seconds after that I heard, Junior, wake up, Junior, wake up, Junior, meaning Junior. And I remember running down the hall, through the dining room and living room, and out the front porch and down 2 houses down from ours. I got there before the police or the ambulance and ultimately the morgue. And I saw a lady sitting on the porch in a drunken stupor. You could smell the alcohol coming out of the house. Her 15-year-old son, and I was about 12, she was slapping him in the face saying, wake up. Of course, I was startled, stunned, and frightened. And I stood there trying to build up the courage to approach them and then step over the body and the mother into the house where my dad's cousin, whom I didn't even know lived there, was living with this lady in a drunken stupor. The house was all disheveled, and there was actually blood, and there was broken bottles, and the walls had scars on them, and the room just started spinning. I'll never forget that. And I said to myself and to my soul, one of these days, I'm going to get out of here. And I'm never going to come back until I can make a change. I will. When I was that age, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do. I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. But I knew what I did not want to be. I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I didn't want to be abused or be an abuser. I didn't want to be a loser, so to speak. It took 9 hours for the coroner to ever get there in our neighborhood. So the little kid laid on the porch, and the hundreds of people started walking from all over the area to just look at his corpse. And I remember I was nauseated by that. I finally could gain my psyche and walk back out. Nobody was there. I got there before everything, and I imagined myself making a difference in the world, not just that world, but the world. And as I look back, 60-some years hence, I have made and continue to make a difference. I remember the other things that I'm not telling you about that I wanted to do and be, and most of the things I imagined as a kid, I've experienced, not all of them, but a lot of them I have. Or world travel, all the things I wanted to do. I had an imagination. There wasn't much expectation even of me, except my dad used to say, son, you could be anything you want to be. You're the one I'm believing most to make a difference. My dad used to tell me that. He said it so often till I started imagining his words. And one day he said to me, and it made me cry. I didn't want to hear it again. He said, son, you're the man I've always wanted to be. That broke my heart, and it complimented me at the same time. He always sat in service where I was preaching with a smirk or a smile on his face. Always a smile. Your parents do affect you. Sometimes they can infect you if what they say is not helpful. Or sometimes if what they say is negative, you live to prove that they're wrong. I have friends who have touched the planet because of something negative they heard, and they imagined the exact opposite. Everybody say, imagine the opposite. Every time you hear or feel something negative, imagine the opposite of that and make the change. Be the change. Think the change. Speak the change and imagine the change. Take your hands and shake negative energy off like it. Just tell the person next to you, scoot over. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to stop. We're dealing with mental illness. I flew all the way from LA to Philadelphia last week to do a panel discussion for TV1 on mental illness. We've never had more high numbers of mental illness. Psychosis, which is being out of touch with external realities. Religion can do that to you, you know. Faith is a form of mental illness. Doesn't mean you're crazy, but you're imagining things that don't exist. So there's a certain amount of mental illness that we like. You've heard me say here before, maybe. Psychologists tell us that 1 out of 5 people you meet is mentally ill or is suffering or dealing with some kind of psychosis. Count down the aisle just to that 5th person, that one's struggling. And if they count the other direction, you're going to be the one struggling. We all are. We manage our pain. We don't always avoid it. The most common usage of healing in the Greek New Testament is not iomai, which means cure, it's therapeuo, where we get the English word therapy. We were taught that therapists were a therapist when I was coming up. So most people in our tradition wouldn't accept therapy. I think therapy is necessary. Even the therapists these days have therapists. That means to attend to, menially, not to cure, but to attend. The reason we come every week, this is weekly therapy. You're in therapy now as we speak. You don't realize it. So am I. And we encourage each other in this group therapy. That's why this spiritual community and your presence here is so important. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But where there are no people, the vision can perish. We need you. We need each other. Let's believe that 2023 will be the greatest, most expansive year this ministry has ever had. I personally expect to expand, to be better, not bitter, regardless of what happens. I choose betterness, not bitterness. How about you? I love you. Peace and blessing to everyone.
Gotta keep on moving forward. You're gonna have to help me though. Keep on moving forward. keep on moving forward, never turning back, never turning back. What's the next one?
Gonna keep on moving proudly.
Okay.
Keep on moving proudly.
Keep on moving proudly, never turning back, never turning back.
Sing it with us. Keep on moving forward. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward.
Never turning back,
Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on moving proudly. Come on. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on loving boldly. We're gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm going to ask you to do something if you would. Would you turn to someone and tell them, I wish you love and peace? Tell somebody that I wish you love and peace. I wish you love and peace. Let's take it up. Gonna keep on loving boldly. Everybody, keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on moving forward. Oh, gonna keep on moving forward. Let me hear your voice. Come on, yeah. Keep on moving forward. I love it. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turning back.
Never turning back. Never turning back. Never turn. I know that there are those who want to turn this country back. They want to turn women's rights back, want to turn a lot of things back. But we're not going to go back. We're going forward. That's the only way is forward. And Bishop Pearson, I just want to say that story, think about that as a young child, a teenager, experiencing what you experienced with witnessing really a murder scene, a lot of people that could have taken them down. That could have just, the thoughts and about life, but you imagined a better life for you. And look at what your life has taken you, and how many people you've touched, and how many people's lives you've changed, like my life that you've changed in so many ways. So the power of imagination, the power of saying, it hasn't happened yet, but it could happen. And what we can imagine can happen. And I want us to imagine good things for this world. One of the things that we do, we're going to take an offering in just a moment, or receive an offering in just a moment. We're going to give it to the Tulsa Cares, which works with folks who have HIV and AIDS. That used to be a death sentence for folks, and we did a lot of memorials for folks back in the 80s, early 90s. but now people are living on, and folks need help and support, and your gift today in the offering plate will go to Tulsa Cares, which looks at the whole person and helps people. So give generously. The only reason we can give away our offering plate every week to organizations like this is because of our members that pledge to support All Souls. If you're a pledging member, you can put your pledge or a donation to All Souls in one of those envelopes, and you can put it in the basket if you would like as well. And we'll just make sure you mark that as your pledge or gift to All Souls. A few quick announcements before we receive the offering. This is your last chance today at 2 to 4, or 2 to 4:30, if you would like to be a part of one of our Wellsprings groups, which is, we're going to be launching a bunch of these groups, they're small groups that meet regularly, and it's members of All Souls, and these are deep and real conversations. This is about the growth that you're talking about, that we either keep growing, keep moving forward in our lives, and sometimes people get stuck and stagnant. People have been isolated and at home for a long time. These Wellspring groups this is a retreat that prepares you to be invited into a group. And I'm telling you, if you're not in one of these Wellspring groups, I feel sorry for you, because they are really special, and people make friends for life in these groups, and people's lives get changed and deepened through the work that they do in these Wellspring groups. So I hope you'll join one of those. If you have a child, or you are a child, 4th grade and up, we are having vocal placements on September 6th and 8th from 4 to 6. We're one of the last churches in Tulsa that has a fully graded choir program, that has choir for little kids and all ages, teenagers, and all the way up through adults. And so it's an amazing program. The choirs are coming back next Sunday. We're going to have choirs. It's going to be fantastic. You're not going to want to miss it. Next Sunday, Homecoming Sunday. But before that, this Tuesday, we're having Booksmart Tulsa's bringing in Beth Macy. You remember the book Dope Sick? About America's overdose crisis. She wrote that book, best-selling, New York Times best-selling author Beth Macy. She just wrote a book called Raising Lazarus, so she'll be here speaking. It's a free lecture at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Young at Heart is going to be having games and food on September 8th. And then, of course, next Sunday, Homecoming Sunday for All Souls. It's time to dream again. You know, we've been putting so much on hold for so long. People have been thinking their goals, their plans, changing jobs, moving, doing all kinds of things, thinking about travel. We've been putting our dreams on hold for 2 years through this pandemic, a lot of us. It's time to start dreaming again, and we're going to start talking about that and dreaming again as a community, as a congregation. We're going to be doing some expansion here. We're going to be putting together a vision for our congregation. What is our place at All Souls in this community, in this world, in this next season of life? We're going to be spending some time working on that this year, and at Homecoming, we're going to get all geared up. So bring your friends, bring your family next Sunday. Choirs are going to be singing, and we're going to have a fantastic Homecoming Sunday, so be here. All right, with that, once again, thank you for being here. You can give online as well. Let us now receive this morning's offering for Tulsa Cares. You know, back in
Nothing
in
like live
ancient times,
preaching,
they
you know.
believed that live music, that it was connected to the spirit. It was something that brought us into our own in a way and connected us. And I could feel that. I feel that when these gentlemen play and when our choirs sing. Think about where we've been. We began this morning imagining a world where neighbors love neighbors and people really cared and checked on each other. We lit candles for people who we love, who we're holding up and who we care about, not just here in Tulsa, but all over the world. We sang songs and thought about moving forward. We heard a wonderful prayer. We brought our hearts to a place of prayerfulness. We heard an inspiring message. And what I want to say, and then we gave. Then we gave to help other people, to bless the world through our generosity. What I want to say is when you do this with your life on a regular basis, when you listen to live music, when you bring your heart to a prayerful place, when you come together with other people who care and you light candles, you stand for those who have died in memory and more. When you do this over and over again, it changes every cell in your body. It actually makes you and your life, makes you walk through this life in a different, more positive way. And so I really want to encourage you to make this a part of your weekly practice, to come and bathe in the spirit of all souls. To bathe in the spirit of community, real, authentic community, not where you need to hide what you believe, but where you can be all of who you are and be yourself. So I'm going to ask Bishop Pearson to say a little blessing as we leave, but if you're online, stick around on Zoom for conversation with people from all over the world, apparently. And if you're here, we hope that you'll stay, and there's coffee and refreshments. We'll greet you at the door. If you go out that door, we'll greet you. And if you're here for the first time, we have a little gift bag for you with some gifts. And we're so glad you're here. We look forward to getting to know you better, and I hope you'll be back next Sunday for Homecoming Sunday.
Thank you for your treasures, for being you. And just go away remembering that somebody imagined you, maybe your parents or your grandparents or even your godparents. You are somebody's imagination, and their imagination brought you forth. You don't just have imagination, you are an image. Embrace it, honor it, celebrate it, and salute it. You're more powerful than you've even imagined. So start imagining how powerful you are. The blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no struggle, no harshness. We dearly love you. Go in peace and make the difference.
Running away from me. It was just my imagination running away with me. Come on, Dorothy. imagination. Just my imagination. Just my imagination running away from me. There it goes. Just my imagination. It's running away with me. Well, it was just my imagination running away with me. It was just my imagination running away from me. Said it was just my imagination running away. There it goes. It's running away. There it goes. There it goes. Bye, we love you all. There we go, there we go, there we go now. There we go, there we go, there we go now. I see you, Stacy. I see you shaking your head, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.